Good evening, traders. I'm Devang Mehra from the Financial Analyst, and this is the Bold Project. So, in this video, we'll talk about the trading in the zone. It's a very, very important concept, trading in the zone, and I'll explain what I'm coming to. This will help you save a lot of money in the market. It will help you, particularly, to time your entries in the market. So, what I do is, so Indian markets, just to give you background, they trade from 9:15 in the morning to about 3:30 in the afternoon. These are the timings currently of the Indian markets. This is a 6 hours 15 minutes trading session, and I like to divide this trading session into three zones. So as I said, it's called trading in the zones. I would like to divide my 6 hours 15 minute session into three zones. I'll tell you why. The reason why I do this is because we have to understand a fundamental concept of the market, which is markets never move like this. If markets have to go up, for example, the shares of Tata Motor, they want to go up today, they will never go up in a single shot. They might, but the probability of it to do so will be very less. At the same time, if the shares of the company Tata Motors have to go down, they will never go like this. It's a very less probability chance of the markets to go down in a single shot. So what happens is markets move in a cyclical pattern, or markets, I would say, moves in phases. What I mean by that is they will move something like this if they have to go higher, or something like this if they have to go lower. So what does that mean? So markets will give you something we like to call expansion in the market. They will give you a good profit if the markets, let's say, have to go higher. What they will do is they will give you an expansion, everyone will buy, then you will get some kind of a contraction or some kind of a pause, some kind of a consolidation, and again when the market breaks out, this is again called an expansion, and this cycle keeps on continuing. So we get an expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, etc. If the markets have to go on the downside, they will give you an expansion on the downside, they will immediately go down. After they've gone down, after a certain extent, they will give you something we call contraction. They will consolidate, move in a sideways market, and then again they will move down, which is again called an expansion. And this cycle, expansion, contraction, expansion, will keep on continuing on the downside. Does every stock do this? Probably not, but we have to assume when we trade that the stocks do this, because if better safe than sorry, precaution is better than cure, as simple as that. So now, if I hope this concept is clear to you guys, markets don't move in single shot, they move in these cyclical phases, which will help you to make money in the market. So you can expect that if the expansion has happened, then you can expect a contraction. Let me explain what I'm trying to tell you guys. We look at the chart of Delta Corp. Let's first divide the market into the zones, and then we'll understand the live examples. So this concept of the zones should be clear. Based on these concepts, I like to divide the 6 hours of training into three sessions, into three zones. The zone number one, I call it the public zone, the PZ, the public zone. This is from 9:15 in the morning. You can write down these timings till 11:30 in the afternoon, early afternoons. So 9:15 in the morning to 11:30, I like to call it zone number one. This is my public zone. What is a public zone? I'll come to that. The zone number two, I like to call it the lunch zone, the LZ, from 11:30, after the public zone, to 1:30 in the afternoon. And finally, I call the zone number three, I call it it's the PZ, the professional zone. That was a public zone. This is a professional zone from 1:30, right after the end of the lunch zone, to the end of the market, which is 3:30 p.m. I hope these timings are clear. You can take a moment, take a screenshot, and write these timings down. Why do I like to call this a public zone? 9:15 to 11:30. It's very, very simple. Markets open at 9:15. What do? Everyone is so excited. So markets will be extremely volatile. Very, very simple. Guys, when can you make money? You can make money in the markets only if they are moving up and down. You cannot make money in the markets when they are moving sideways. So when the market opens, every news that has come before, in the night after 3:30 p.m. when the market closes. So for example, today is Friday, November 13th. Any news that comes in after 3:30 p.m. will be impacted when? It will be impacted only on Monday, 9:15 p.m. AM. So whenever markets open, all the public, the entire public, they want to do buy and selling in what? In anticipation of what happened earlier. Whatever news has come in, they want to grab that news and trade on that news. So in these first 2 hours of the trade, markets will be extremely volatile, up and down. They will move in a good direction. They will go down. They will give you massive profits because everyone is excited, and this is the public zone. Number two, what is the zone number two? Zone number two is called the lunch zone. In the lunch zone, what happens is the public has traded. They have made money in the first 2 hours because of the anticipation in news, anticipation of results. I'll give an example. A company like Page Industries posted a result yesterday. When will the market react to it? In the morning at 9:15. They are not going to react at 1:30 in the afternoon. They will react. If the result came out yesterday, they will react to it in the first 10-20 minutes. So that this zone becomes very, very important, and the markets become very have a lot of action in this first 2 hours. In the lunch zone, from 11:30 to 1:30, markets will move sideways. They will move flat. Why? Because number one, the public has traded. They have got their money. They're out of the market. Number two, all the big institutions, right? Everyone goes for lunch. As simple as that. This is a universally a lunch time in America, whatever, wherever you are. 11:30 to 1:30 is generally regarded as a lunch time in any professional concern entity. So this is one time where not a lot of orders are executed. So when a lot of orders are not executed in the market, markets cannot move up and down. The markets will move sideways. So in this 2 hours, there are no major bulk deals, block deals. So the shares have no reason to move. Only the small money is coming in and out of these shares. And the zone number three is the professional zone. So I can put it very simply. As soon as the lunch zone is over, so when the big institutions, when the big players in the market, they've had their lunch, when do they want to come again in the market? They want to come again in the market at 1:30 p.m. till the end of the market at 3:30 p.m. So it is very obvious, when will the moves resume in the market? The action in the market will again resume at 1:30 p.m. because this is the time people want to become active in the market. There is a saying in the market that markets never open at the right price, but they always close at the right price. What I'm trying to say is the opening zone and the closing zone, basically the zone number one and the zone number three. These are two zones that you want to be in, whether you are an intraday trader or whether you are, investing for short term, long term, etc. Whenever you buy or sell an asset, you want to remain in these zones, because in these zones, market will be volatile. It will be giving you a lot of movement. So whatever strategy that you adopt, that we teach you, you can use those strategies in the zone number one and the zone number three. If you by chance enter the zone in the zone number two, you are probably not going to make a lot of money. Chances of you making the money are less. Why? Because in this zone, if you remember that cycle, markets move like this, in a expansion, contraction, and expansion. So this you can regard as the zone number one. The contraction is the zone number two, and the expansion again is the zone number three. So if you are entering in the lunch zone, even if it's a valid strategy, even if our strategy that we teach you works, but in the lunch zone, things are not going to be favorable for you. You are probably not going to make money, and all you will be doing is wasting time in the market. One thing you have to understand before you move on in the course is that, see guys, your trading hours are limited. You have only 6 hours approximately in a day to trade. Number one. So the time, so you have two constraints. The first constraint is your capital, and the second constraint is the time. You have limited capital, so you have to deploy the capital in good assets, and you have limited time, so you need to know when you want to come into a stock. If you have a capital of, let's say, 1 lakh, and if you put your capital of 50,000, 50% of the capital when in the lunch zone, I am very sure this capital will be blocked and you are not going to make much money. Only chances would be maybe around 1:30, 2 o'clock, something. If the move happens, then you make money. But you are wasting what we call time value of money. You waste those 2 hours, whereas that money could have been better deployed somewhere else. So my suggestion to the traders watching this video would be that I want you to focus on the zone number one, the public zone, when the markets are opened by the public, and the zone number three, the professional zone, when the professionals on the Dalal Street, they close the market, because this is the zones where the movements are going to happen in the market. And also the importance of the zones, I would like to give you another way. In the zone number one, as I told you, this is a zone where you will get a lot of breakouts. What is a breakout? You will learn about this in the rest of the course. But to give you an example, breakout means this is my level of resistance, 100 rupees. My price breaks out of this 100 and immediately moves higher. and gives you immediate profit in a couple of minutes. So the zone number 1 is a place where you can make a lot of money if you are in the right direction, because things are so volatile, and since the market has just opened, everything will be breaking out or breaking down. So zone number 1 is for breakouts and breakdown. At the same time, even your zone number 3, zone number 2 I ignore, even the zone number 3 is for breakout and breakdown, because again, when the markets become flat in the lunch zone, in the zone number 3, again the breakout and breakdowns will start. So this is again a zone where you want to be in. Finally, if you are traders who like to do BTST trades, that is something you have to do only in zone number 3. What is a BTST trade? Please remember, BTST trades have to be triggered only in the last 1 hour of the market, which is basically your zone number 3. You can't take a BTST trade in zone number 1. BTST basically means you are buying today in the market, maybe at 2:30 p.m., 3 p.m., and selling tomorrow. So buy today, sell tomorrow. It's basically a normal trade, normal your long-term trade, but instead of holding the security for a long period of time, you are buying today in the market and selling immediately when the market opens. A lot of people have this doubt when they ask me, when I say BT. So in the groups that you are in, he probably will give you some BTST trade. So if I give you a BTST trade, this will mean you buy today and sell it immediately at 9:15. Whatever you are getting, you don't have to be greedy and wait for the market to try to give you much more money. You have to immediately buy and sell tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. in the market, whatever price that you're getting. That is what I call a BTST trade. How to do that, we'll talk about that later. But in this video, in this module, I wanted to make the zone trading clear. Let's see some examples. Please look at these examples so things become extremely clear. This is the charts of Delta Corp, 15-minute chart, so intraday movement. You can see today, 13th of November, markets moved up. As I told you, they give breakouts. This is what I call a breakout. You have a resistance, market goes higher than that and gives you a blasting movement. When did this move happen? In the zone number 1. You can see markets move higher. After at 11:30, you can see exactly at 11:30 when the zone number 2 starts, markets move sideways. So no money could have been made. And when did the move again happen? Exactly at 1:30 p.m. or 2 o'clock, the move again happened. So you can see zone number 1, zone number 2, and zone number 3. So you now know where the smart money comes in and where you need to put your money, right? This is the charts of Tata Motors. Again, today's 15-minute charts. You can exactly see the breakdown happen, a very good profit entry on the downside. That's the zone number 1. You can see when the 11:30 time starts, market will move flat. This is zone number 2, and again the markets move down in the zone number 3. So either you stay in zone number 1 or you stay in zone number 3, because in zone number 2 you are going to get chopped out. It's going to be a sideways market. You cannot make a lot of money. We'll see 1-2 more examples. Vedanta. So a lot of people ask me, is this always going to happen? Is the zone trading, as I'm telling you, will always happen? No, it's not like that. You can see the charts of Vedanta. It kept on moving up in a single shot. It kept on moving high. I would say this is some kind of an exception, but even if you see at 11:30, some kind of pause will happen. So see this exactly around 11:30, there was a pause in the trend. So it will not be very obvious always, but some pause will happen at 11:30, considering people go for lunch and markets do become sideways without any big orders coming into the market. And so another thing is, let's say some very important announcement is coming at 12 o'clock. So for example, when the finance minister has to address India, or when the RBI governor has to address India, they usually come around 12 o'clock. So when such a domestic event is scheduled, then the zone trading will not work, because that 12 o'clock becomes a very important time for the market, and the market will react to that time. So in case there is an important news, then forget about the zone trading. The move can happen even at 12 o'clock. Without any important news, trade as per the zones. One last example, today's Piramal Industries. You can see markets opened at 9:15. They went higher, gave you a good trending move. 11:30 started becoming sideways. Again, exactly at 1:30, a trending move happened. So zone 1 is good, zone 2 is good, and zone 3 is good. Zone 2 should be avoided in normal circumstances. I hope you like this video. Let me know if you have any doubts, and we'll discuss them over the weekend sessions or on WhatsApp. Thank you so much, guys.